Well, today is a nice day. Not too hot, not too overcast. Good day to pick coffee. Coffee's nice and bright. So this plant has been picked a couple of different times, but now you gotta go through and pick. Coffee ripens in stages, right? And so you're gonna always see little ripe, some green still. So your goal is try to not pick the green off with the ripe. But let me take a second. You're probably wondering, how in the world did I end up living in the middle of a coffee field? Let me pull up a chair. Take a minute. And one thing, it is hot. Your hydration, because you are out, it's hot. And the altitude, Costa Rica, Central Valley of Costa Rica, actually is a high central plain. So it's, for me, it's a little more tolerable to live rather than on the coast. The coast is high humidity. So it's something important to know about Costa Rica. You do have different microclimates, right? But anyway, I didn't wake up one day and decide, okay, I'm gonna move to Costa Rica and I am gonna go become a coffee plantation owner. No, no, not even for a minute. So really, when I think about it, it really started way back even when I was a child, when I wanted to learn Spanish in elementary school. I don't even know why. But I had friends where I lived and they were Spanish speakers, and I got the opportunity to learn Spanish. So I started in elementary school learning Spanish, and I tried in high school as well. And even in university, I didn't do very well. But I always had that love for the language, and or at least the intent to speak the language. And also, I remember in sixth grade, I don't even know what we were doing, but I remember being at the front of the classroom and seeing the world map and just being fascinated about that little teeny tiny bit of land that connected um, the U.S. and Mexico with South America. So when you learn North America and South America and Central America, and I just saw a little teeny bit of land in my childhood's imagination. I thought, well, one earthquake and everything's going to break. And I was like, who lives there? You know, like how can they fit in that little bit of land right there? And so never realizing that one day I would be living here. So, but just kind of a backstory. I always wanted to move. I always had that as something, maybe as a child, looking at National Geographic, hearing other people's life stories and things like that. And so I heard, there was an occasion where I heard a couple and they were saying how they were able to downsize their very responsible positions and get to the point where they were able to leave. And they had a 5-year goal. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I could do the same thing, have a 5-year goal. So I made a point of going up and speaking to them afterwards during the break and asking them, to explain to me. So we got to be friends and we would spend time together, and they would just tell me, what they did and, how they approached it, how they handled their finances and things like that. And so I thought, that's interesting. And, I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. So I set myself a 5-year goal. So mind you, I had no money. I was recently divorced. I had nothing. And I was too young to retire. So I thought, okay, what can I do in order to move also? So the first thing I realized is I needed money. So I went about finding out how I can buy a property, and something worked out where I was able to, and I'll tell more of that story later. But it was not easy. It was one of those things where you set the goal, you say what you want to do. And then I was reading something this morning that said, when you have set a goal and something seems difficult, courage is something that is uh, is prayer with wings. Is that you don't know where it's going to go, and when the opportunity arrives, sometimes it's you making it the door for you to be able to walk through that door of opportunity. So a lot of it is just planning, and it was really kind of planning on what um, I wanted to do, and I was focusing on Dominican Republic. And during the time of my 5-year goal, I happened to meet my husband, and previously the I was not able to, and you have to have a family or mate who's on board. They have to be on board. It has to be where the children are on board, your mate is on board. If somebody's kicking and fighting and you sell their bed out from underneath them, no, you really have to have a family plan. So, thankfully, the person that I married, that was something that he always wanted to do. So, we both had that as a goal, and as it worked out, when we were able to leave, I came across a little booklet where I wrote my 5-year plan in. And I had written it and forgotten about it, right? And we moved almost to the date of the 5 years. So it's a process. So it's only to say that as you are thinking about what you want to do, you need to follow a process. And even at that, it's not going to be easy. The process is not going to be easy. You're going to Things are just going to happen, right? But if you stay true to the purpose and the direction that you want, things will work out. So the purpose that I have for this channel, just a coffee picking moment, besides showing you what coffee is like and how it grows, and you drink the drink every day, but you don't get an opportunity to see some of the things behind the scenes of growing coffee. That this coffee that will be picked today, it won't be processed for months, um, as far as before it actually arrives in a cup. It has to be dried. This skin will be taken off. So I'll just show you one here. Has a little skin. This skin is very juicy and sweet. It's like it tastes. You can see that there's really nothing more to the fruit. It's just the skin, although supposedly in some places they're drying it. And but it's very sweet. But this will be the skin will be taken off. Then they're washed and dried if you choose. They're doing different processes now to maintain some of the sweetness. And then it has to dry in the sun for a couple of weeks to get to the right humidity. Then it's stored, and it will be stored probably for the next at least a minimum of 4 months. And then you'll start, at least for my case, I store things even over a year or so. It's still in just that green raw form. So that's what green is. It's just raw. It's dried. It's stored in protective bags, and it will stay there until it's time to roast. And then there's a little husk, like a peanut has a husk. So that husk will be taken off, and then and I actually made a video the other day, so I'll upload that video showing once you're at the roasters and some of the process after picking the coffee. So, but it's not something that we planned. We actually moved to Costa Rica to live in a condominium. Um, and that's something I'll talk about in these videos. Um, Hold your money in your pocket. I will try to say that lots and lots of times. If you're looking at a website and you're moving and it looks like a good deal and you want to buy sight unseen. I mean, a lot of people do, and that's fine. But my experience and what I've seen in my 21 years living in Costa Rica, what I've seen, for the most part, things don't work the way you want. So you have a lot more control if you uh, just come with your money in your pocket. Look poor. I'm not embarrassed. This is the clothes I'm going to wear picking and working. And I'm not embarrassed. I am not out to impress anybody. My nails are not done. I'm not embarrassed. I'm fine with just the relief. My hair. It's nice to even know what my hair is like. After a whole lifetime, I've never even known the texture of my own hair and being happy. I mean, I just have to look at it and go, it wasn't a mistake of creation. It was made with a purpose. Go with the manufacturer design. Whatever the manufacturer had in mind when they made this hair, I'm going with it, right? And so just, as you're looking at your decision making and the things that you have to consider, I'm hoping that I can just give you some things. When I say the channel, just kind of a spin on, hey, just a cotton picking minute, not even to scold people, but a coffee picking minute, something a little, softer, something that just gives you a time to sit down, take a drink of water, think a little bit, have something where you can just mull over and hopefully see and take advantage of the experience of someone who has been here. Now, I can say myself and another woman who's been here, it's been very hard, and I have saved and I have not done these videos because one of the reasons I decided not to is because every time you're sitting there face to face with people, or the majority of times when you're sitting face to face, people almost always think, well, that was your case. I'm smarter than you. And you might be. I'm going to say you probably are smarter than me. You probably are. You probably are smarter than me. I'm not going to deny that. But I can say I've been here for 21 years. You show me someone that has left the U.S. and has been in Costa Rica or been in another country for 21 years. When you show me that person, then okay. But I can tell you it's a rarity. Even statistically, it's a rarity because on the average, most people move back within 5 years. So my goal is to help you maybe to see, things that you hadn't thought of, consider some things that you can avoid to save you thousands of dollars. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars. It's a norm for people to lose thousands of dollars. It's a norm. All right. It's a norm. So, and they're very smart people. But we don't understand the system, how things work, and not that it's complicated. It's just not our same way of doing things. So when, my suggestion is for people is hold your money in your pocket, make some trial run visits, rent a place, for a month, or come visit a couple of Airbnbs, look at some of the different areas. Don't tell people that you're planning to move. Don't get excited. It's like love at first sight. Don't get excited. Just come, look, think, and don't even tell your friends you're planning to move. You're just going on a vacation, because the first thing your friends and family will do is they'll pop the balloon on your dream. But how about the drug cartels? That's the first thing they say. And I'm like, but, you know, or people get kidnapped, or that island, is it safe? I mean, people think Costa Rica is an island. People are here and think it's an island. It's not. And you could drive. I tell people you could drive all the way from Canada all the way through Costa Rica, even out to Panama. You could drive. They're trying to figure out what kind of bridges there is, and so so they're speaking from their own fear, their own love for you, and their own concern. So it's normal. So you just are kind of looking, exploring. You're not going to get overly excited about it. You're just taking your time as you're looking and exploring. So I'm hoping with just little things, just little things that you're able to see some of the challenges, some things to think about, but then also some of the joys. Because if we look at life always with challenges, then we're never going to see the blessings and the beauty. And so there are joys in community. There are joys in being able to be out in the sun and just enjoy the fresh air, relax your body, do natural exercise, which is working in your farm, picking coffee. Who would have ever thought, farm labor, it would be something that you would enjoy. But once you get out there, your brain relaxes, your muscles relax, the stress disappears, the joy comes to your life that you did not imagine. So, it's a beautiful, beautiful dream, a plan, a purpose that you have. So just consider me as just that person who you can just kind of peek in on what she's doing, what she's saying, take it into consideration. It's only my opinion, right? I'm only going to say it's only my opinion, it's only my experience. I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't have anything to sell today. So I can't even sell you coffee. I'll have to tell you about that because we can't even send it unless you're here, because of all the things that are happening in the US. So it's just something, a desire that I've had for since the time I came. But of course, when I came, I didn't know what I was talking about. So now with 21 years, I probably still don't know what I'm talking about, but I can share with you my experience, things that I've seen, things that I've, watched other people go through. And, there's just so many details. There's, health insurance, what happens if a person dies here, buying a car, buying property, renting, uh, food, organic food, friends, community. I'll just be putting little things out there from time to time. I'll even talk about catching a bus. Hopefully, I'll get to do that. I didn't even know how to catch the bus when I first came here. It took me years. I did not know. I didn't know what a bus stop was. So how it worked, I had no idea. I had no idea. And so we get in the mindset of thinking we need a car, but how you could even live, how well you can live without a car. You can live really well. So to let go of the mindset, well, I have to have a car. No, you don't. It only depends on you need to be somewhere at a certain time, a certain place. But bus service through most of the country is pretty good. If you live centrally in town where you can walk and everyone walks down with, remember people used to use a little rolly shopping cart, go get their groceries. It's very common. You'll see that is very common, especially if you live in town or there's just no reason to walk. So you can get fresh vegetables and fruit and grocery stores, shop in the mall, go eat ice cream if you like, sit in the park, get to know people. And, I have been here so long, people are like, they know me, and I'm looking forward to getting on the bus, because that's how I find out what I'm doing, right? Because somebody told me, they called me and they're all scared because someone told them I had died. And I was like, I am so glad that was wrong news. And then the other day, someone told me that I had moved back to the States. And so they were surprised to actually see me. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm here too. So I don't know where people get their stories. I don't know how it happens, but you do become part of the community, which is nice. It's definitely a place throughout the country, and some communities more. And where you get to be part of the community, you get to be the fabric of the town. And especially, if you're from the States, you do stand out, whether it's, the color of your skin, the color of your hair, the way you dress. You just stand out, and people know you're a foreigner. So, without you even opening your mouth. So it's nice, and people will be protective of you as well. So that's a beautiful thing. But anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra, and I hope, over time we get a chance to just share a thing. I don't have comments on for a reason, because I want this to be reflective. And maybe I'll open it up at some point. But I want this to be something where it's just for you to think, and for me to be able to express without me censoring my thinking or being influenced. Because at this moment, I have so many different things I would like to share, and that I don't, I mean, I'm just like coming up with hundreds of things that I need to go back and get myself caught up. And then as I get a little bit further along in the journey, well, then, I'll appreciate input. But, just keep coming back and taking a look. And if it resonates with you, what I'm saying, great. If it's not, well, no, but because everyone's looking for something different, and then there are people who are just looking for a calm, peaceful way to transition. Somebody who's honestly going to tell them, you know, what to expect, what not to expect, give you little hints without having an ulterior motive. And yesterday a friend contacted me and asked if it was okay that one of her friends could contact me, and I said okay. And and I said, well, I'm going to be very honest, with I'm going to be very honest with her. She said, yeah, that's why I referred you, because I know you're going to tell her the truth, right? Alrighty then. So thank you for joining me and just getting a little bit of idea of what this channel is about. And I look forward to being able to just stay in touch and share with you, some of my experiences of living here in this beautiful country that, everyone's like, oh, you're Tika, because I've been here so long, So like one person, she's like, you're Tika, oh, you're Tika. She said it like 5 times. So I appreciate that, because she was from here, and so she included me as being part of the community. So that's when you've arrived, where uh people, they can't quite figure out where you're from, because they know I speak Spanish with a US accent, but they can't figure out. So anyway, this is Sandra, as I said. Welcome to beautiful Costa Rica. I hope that your journey, your planning is marvelous. And, I hope through these videos you'll be able to just take some notes, things to think about, things to meditate on. And, I'll be sharing just a lot of the practical everyday things that maybe we don't think about, just things like that, right? Alrighty, take care, nos vemos, hasta luego, ciao, bye.